Hey guys, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn fan, and we just got our first Star Wars movie in 7 years. So to celebrate, today I'm going to be doing a Black Series review of Colonel Ward from The Mandalorian and Grogu. But not only that, at the end of the video, I'm actually going to be talking about my opinions on the movie itself. So I'm kind of going to split the video into two parts. Part one will be spoiler-free, apart from like tiny details about Colonel Ward, like so that way I can compare it to the figure of how it is in the movie. Nothing major, but if you don't want to hear any of that, then don't watch the video at all. And then at the later half of the video, I'm going to go into what I think about the movie. And yeah, so with all that said, I'm going to get started on my Black Series review. So, Colonel Ward is a new character that we're introduced to in The Mandalorian and Grogu. She's played by Sigourney Weaver, and we recently just got her figure. Today I'm actually doing a Black Series review of the Premiere Edition, which, if you don't know, that's basically just when they release a Black Series slightly earlier, so this is like the first release that you get. They're the exact same thing, it's just they come with a white box and a cool shiny sticker. So yeah, if you want this figure, you can get either this version or the actual version. Now that that's out of the way, I think they actually did a really good job on this Black Series figure. It's nothing spectacular because we do get a lot of pilots, but there's actually new cool little details that they threw into her figure. So I'm going to get it started. On the legs, they actually did kind of like what they did with the Hera figure, of how the little straps that a Rebel pilot has are not printed on and are actually like a mold that you can move around. They're plastic. That's really cool. She has articulation around her waist, and that's really cool, so you can do like, I don't know, just different poses with the figure. She has gloves on that are molded, and they have little detailing on the gloves of how like a comm link is there. That's pretty cool. There's like pilot tubes and stuff on like her chest around the pilot vest. That's really cool. And yeah, I just really like what they did with the figure. Something new that I don't know if any other figure has ever had before is actually what they do with her arm articulation. So Colonel Ward has the standard arm articulation, but then there's actually also a ball joint inside of that articulation. There's articulation on top of articulation. That's like 16 walls of articulation. But yeah, that's really cool. I really like what they did on the pilot detailing, how there's even just shoulder detailing here. That's really cool. And all the little bits of detailing that we get on most pilot figures. It's all great to see here, like on the boots, how there's the little bit of silver detailing. And yeah, I really like that. Moving on to the face, which is probably the biggest standout on this figure, they nailed the design of making this figure look like Sigourney Weaver. This looks exactly like Sigourney Weaver in the movie, and just kind of Sigourney Weaver in general. That's really cool how they did that there. With that said, Colonel Ward has two outfits that she wears in the movie, and her pilot outfit is kind of the one that we see less of in the movie, so I don't know why they chose her pilot outfit. I think it's mainly just so that way if the figure doesn't sell well for her character, you can still buy one and just say, oh, it's just your average Rebel pilot. I do think that this is a good idea. I'm perfectly fine with us getting this version of Colonel Ward, because at least this outfit is important to the film. So, yeah, and maybe, who knows, if the movie does well enough, we will get the other version of Colonel Ward released, because the Mandalorian show, everybody and their mom gets a Black Series figure. So, yeah, I really like the figure. The head, they did an amazing job on. Her only actual accessory is her helmet, and that's kind of a letdown for me. However, with that said, I actually really like what they did with her helmet, because her helmet has a unique mold that I don't think we've ever gotten before. Real quick, I'll just show off the helmet and how they did a nice job on the paint job. It's really cool how they have the blue, and then the New Republic / Rebel Alliance logo, and then the yellow visor. That's really cool, plus the microphone on the side to talk into. And what they did for her mold on the helmet is that the visor actually pops out. Like, this helmet is I guess malleable is the word I would use if it was metal, but it's plastic. But essentially, you stretch the helmet to put it actually on the figure's head, and then the visor will pop out. So there's these two little holes on the helmet that you then have to put it back on. I think that's very complicated, but the reason why I think they did that is maybe it's something to do with the figure's head mold and how her hair is, making it complicated. I really hope this isn't the new mold that is the standard, because it's complicated to put it on the figure's helmet or on their head. For me, especially when I'm wearing a Mandalorian helmet, in reality, it's not that bad. It's just a slight inconvenience. But yeah, I do really like this helmet mold, and especially if it's just for her. I don't mind it if it is the new standard, but I don't know. I kind of like the other ones. But this is still really cool. I'm glad we got this new helmet mold. However, I do wish that Colonel Ward had some other accessories besides just her helmet, because in the movie, specifically even in the trailer, one of the big standout points is when Grogu tries to steal her snacks and she doesn't let him. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put the visor back onto the helmet. Okay, there we go. So in the movie, Grogu tries stealing her snacks with the Force, and she doesn't let him. That's a big part of the actual film. Why can't we get her snacks as one of her accessories? Instead, we just get her helmet. Or even just the bounty cards that she gives Mando. Honestly, I'd even say a blaster would be a good accessory, because when has it ever stopped Hasbro from just throwing in a blaster for a character who doesn't have one? I don't know what just happened there, but anyway. Moving on to the figures box, like I said earlier, this is the Premier Edition box, and it's really cool. I actually really like the Premier Edition of how they're these white ones with this nice detailing and just shiny stickers, and I really like them, okay? And I know I like to complain about Hasbro just reusing the same colors for Waveline boxes. However, if you at least use a new version of an existing color they've already done, I really like that, and that's what I think about this one, of how it's a darkish blue, purpley look, and it's really cool. I really like how it matches the rest of the figure, and yeah, I just really like that. On the side here, we have a nice picture of Colonel Ward in her pilot uniform, and that's really cool. On the back, same thing. And something that surprised me is that Colonel Ward is number 4 for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And yeah, I'm a little shocked that she's number 4, because the other characters that are above her are just like Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper, AT-AT driver, and just Mando and Grogu are obviously the number 1. So yeah. But I just think it's kind of weird that Colonel Ward is number 4 to a random Stormtrooper remnant. With that all said and out of the way, I still really do like the figure. I just think maybe we could have gotten an accessory from her. So yeah, overall I'm going to be giving it a 10 out of 10 because this is an amazing Colonel Ward figure. I recommend you pick one up. I actually picked this one up before the movie even came out. It's where I actually got this cool shirt. But yeah, so 10 out of 10 figure. With that said and out of the way, now I'm going to get into my spoilers and what I think about the actual movie. This movie is awesome, okay? I don't think this movie needs to save Star Wars, because Star Wars doesn't need saving. This is just a fun adventure with Mando and Grogu, 2 characters that we love. Grogu gets a lot more screen time in this movie. And yeah, it's just a fun movie. That's all I wanted from this movie. I didn't want it to save Star Wars because I don't think Star Wars is broken. I really like that Zeb shows up in this movie and is in it a lot. He does more than just stand at a bar. And even then, I thought him just standing at a bar was awesome to see in live action. So imagine how excited I was seeing Zeb do actual stuff. I really like that this movie brings back Rada the Hutt and makes him an actual character that you care about. I love the adventure that Mando and Grogu go on together. Embo is in this movie, and he is awesome in the movie. I really like just how fun the movie is. The music is amazing, as always, when it comes to Star Wars. And yeah, I just really like the movie. There's tons of action, there's heart. It's just a fun time. And it's honestly even a movie you don't have to watch the show to go see. There will be a few things of where you'll be like, wait, what? If you haven't seen the show. But I don't know, I just think it's fun. With that said, I do kind of wish a few more characters from the show had actually appeared. Like, specifically IG-11, they're already on Navarro. Why can't he just appear? But I get it. This is the movie and everything. And also, the show has never been a set group of characters. It's always just been Mando and Grogu go on an adventure to place, with the exception of Season 3, where Bo-Katan is also a reoccurring character. So, yeah, I think the movie was awesome. And it's just a fun adventure that you can go see. I will not lie here. I kind of teared up at one point during the movie when Grogu is trying to wake up his dad and he won't wake up because of the poison. I really love how the movie dives into the theme of that Grogu is going to live on for centuries. And so what's he going to do when Mando's no longer there to protect him? But also how Mando needs Grogu just as much as he thinks that Grogu needs him. I really like all of that. I think the Hutts work as good enough villains for the movie. I mean, they're not the most compelling villains we've ever gotten, but they're hateable, and they serve their purpose. I really like all the characters, and yeah, the old protect the young, and then the young protect the old. So yeah, I really like the movie. And I was there day one in a full-on Mandalorian costume getup. Not like this helmet, I was wearing that, plus the rest of my costume, day one to see this movie. This was my most anticipated movie of the year, and it did not disappoint me because it was a fun adventure with two characters I love. And yeah, it does expand on the Star Wars universe a bit, and it's a fun movie. I know I keep saying that a lot, but it's true. So I heavily recommend you go see the movie. I'm going to go see it way more than once. And I also recommend you pick up a Colonel Ward figure because she was actually a really cool character. Sigourney Weaver doesn't have too much in the movie, but I really like what she does do in the movie. She serves her part as Mando's boss and someone in the New Republic. But one thing I will say, why didn't we get any Anzellan figures? They're the real heroes in that movie. I mean, they're the ones who come back and bring the New Republic to go save Mando. We couldn't have gotten any of the Anzellans. We have the mold in the IG-12 figure. Just throw them in a whole figure already. So yeah, this figure, 10 out of 10, and I heavily recommend you go see the movie. It's worth your time. This is Grand Admiral Thrawn Fan signing off, and I look forward to our next encounter in my next video. May the Force be with you.